how do we attract agents? What are the scripts? What are the dialogues, the objection handlers? What is your strategy or tactic that you're going to implement and deploy like right now to attract yet your next agent to align with EXP so that you and your family can receive that residual, that passive income, guys, what I love to call wake up money. Now take this in the spirit I mean it. Even if you don't wake up, please recognize this residual income. It's inheritable. You can pass it down to your loved ones. I got to tell you, that's one of the things that makes me feel so good inside about this model, knowing that, heaven forbid I go down in a plane crash tomorrow, my family's still going to receive that money month after month deposited right into our account on over the 22nd of every month. And God, I got to tell you, that just, what a relief. I mean, I can breathe, I can relax knowing that my family's taken care of, seriously, as long as my revenue share organization produces, and it's going to produce for decades. Okay. So if not beyond decades. So with that said, we've got a very, very special guest today. He's the author of a book called The Evolution of Real Estate. Excuse me, Dan. Evolution of, I don't have the book right in front of me.
You almost got it. Real Estate Evolution.
Real Estate Evolution.
You're so close. It's under his pillow. Just to give you, it's
I got it right on my nightstand. It's got bookmark in there. I'm almost through it. So forgive me, I didn't have it right in front of me. Thank you, Dan. Thank you for being here, by the way.
It's my pleasure.
Given your time, your energy, your focus and attention to this audience. And by the way, Dan's not charging me anything to be here. He's just shown out of the kindness of his own heart. He wants to pour into you guys and add value today. And we have an opportunity to ask him whatever question we want to ask him. He's built an incredible career in real estate sales. Heck, he's written a book about it. I'd encourage you all to check that out. Dan, welcome to our call.
Thank you, Sean. Real Estate Evolution is what he was sharing with you. So again, my name's Dan Rochon, and I am a relative newcomer to EXP. And what I'm going to share with you today is how to be able to build your passive income. Would anybody besides myself want to build a passive income, just like Sean just said, that will exist on for decades and decades and decades and generations? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So let's address the biggest challenge in the room, which is I don't want to recruit. Well, let's talk about that. So I'm going to read two definitions to you, and I want you guys to vote. We're gonna do. Are you guys ready? We're gonna vote here. You guys good with that? All right. I'm going to give you option A, option B, and then when I wait until I'm done with both these options before you vote, and tell me which of these options that you're going to vote for. So option A, to persuade someone to work for a company or become a member of an organization, especially the Army. That's option A, to persuade someone to work for a company or become a member of an organization, especially the Army. Option B, to cause someone to come to a place or participate in a venture by offering something of interest or favorable conditions in opportunities. Option B, to cause someone to come to a place or participate in a venture by offering something of interest and favorable conditions of opportunities. Let's see here. Let me look at the votes here. All right. Just instead of me reading, because that would be like a little bit hard. B, 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 B. If there's an A in there, maybe we got a Baba. Oh, we have an A. Thank you, Jeff, for the A. I love that. B, 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 B. B is the definition of attraction. A is the definition of recruiting. If you answered B, then that is an ingredient that I want you to consider in regards to the way that you approach this. So in other words, don't recruit. Because when you can attract to yourself, then you can be able to be the prize. And what do I mean by that? Has anybody here ever read Flip the Script? Anybody Flip the Script? All right, I recommend the book. It's Flip the Script, and it's how to be able to persuade anybody to be able to take action, massive action. And in that book, the author states that you are the prize, meaning that whatever your service is, whatever your product is, whatever it is that you have to offer, when you could create it and communicate it in a way that others know that what you have is the prize, meaning that they want that more than you want to sell it to them. As a result, I pulled out my the previous company I was with. This is the last month I was with that company in February of 2022, almost a year now. And this was the profit share that I received from that company that I printed out. Now, the important thing about this to know, there's just a ton of agents here, right? But the important thing that I want you to know about this, right? So if I'm communicating to somebody about EXP, for example, I show them these numbers. I show them these numbers because that was 15 years of work. That was 15 years of attracting. And by the way, I never recruited a single soul there. That's about 370 people. It's put more than that today in a profit share tree. Anybody want to guess how much money I made that month? Throw out a number. What do you guys think? This is how much?
200.
Higher.
800.
I made that month $2,693.
Not bad.
All right, that's
with
with
one of the biggest rev share earners, or excuse me, profit share earners in that organization, by the way.
And okay, that was after 15 years of extraordinary work, which is being in the top 1% of 1%. Okay, just for perspective. In 10 months' time, my revenue share is higher than my profit share after 15 years.
You know what that is, Dan?
That's a win, baby. That's a win. That's winning.
That's exactly right. Exactly.
I'm a fast learner, man. I'm a fast learner. So again, objectively, right? Like I don't have to put any subjective opinion into that conversation at all. None. Just facts. Now, maybe you don't have the same success yet, and that's okay. Because the really, really cool thing about the way that this organization is set up is I bet you, in fact, it's not even a bet, it's a fact of knowledge that there's somebody in your organization right now who would be more than happy to be able to jump onto a phone call and to be able to communicate to another about the opportunity. I know that every single Friday that Icon Coaching has a 9 a.m. Pacific time discovery call that you host every single week. And I also know that there's other things of value, though I don't know all of those things of value because I'm not intimately familiar with your organization, yet I know that there's things of value that you could attract people to attend. So
1000%. There are many, many other things beyond just this Friday group attraction call. Yeah, guys, if you haven't been to that, I would encourage you, go to iconcoaching.com, go to the events tab, and go down to the Friday discovery call. Click on that, register. It's free. Just register. I want you to engage in that. I want you to witness how we articulate the 8 different ways that we compensate agents at EXP. No doubt about it. So, guys, it's an hour out of your time. And I promise you, you're going to pick up something that's going to help you attract that next agent and the next agent. And you go out and list 40 houses this year. And I hope you do. Yet at the same time, if you invested a little bit of time, a little bit of energy into listing 40 agents this year, your world will change dramatically, undoubtedly.
So there's one of two people that you probably are right now. You're probably somebody who you're really, really familiar with having a conversation about attraction, about it, to be able to have a conversation about the opportunity that EXP has. That's option 1, or option 2. You're not that person. And that's okay. I want to speak to both of you, because if you're not that person, again, within your organization, I promise you that there's somebody above you in your organization that is that person. So if you're not that person, that you're comfortable to be able to have those one-on-one conversations, then for those of you that I'm talking to you right now, and do 2 things. One is invite them to some of the opportunity that Sean and his organization, your organization, has to come and participate. That's option, that's step 1. Step 2 is then introduce them to somebody to have a discovery call who's above you in your organization. That I promise you that they will help you. If you're the one that's comfortable to have the conversation with that person, then what I would share with you again, I guess said or said not said, I recruited a whole bunch of people to a company once upon a time. Or what I would rather say is I never recruited a single soul. I accidentally recruited because I did something that somebody else said, huh, wow, I think he can help me. And just like John said earlier, oh, would you mind if, would it be okay if I select you as my sponsor? See, that's the very definition of attraction right there. That is attraction right there in real time. Right? So we want to give John an applause because that's winning. And so that's an example of the way that when done properly, others see an identity within themselves, see an opportunity with themselves. Because for those of you that are comfortable having the conversations, then what I would suggest that you consider is to be able to create a desire for that individual so that they now can see themselves with a different identity. Because today for myself, and not everybody can like envision being Sean Kokoska. Not everybody can do that. Like, let's just be real. Okay, like, is that okay? Yet, whoever it is who you're communicating with, you could create an identity for them that could be whatever it is that they want. Your job is to be able to open up the doorway, the pathway for them to step through so that they can see themselves in that I don't have to ever work again.
You're right on the spot, Dan. No doubt about that. Now, by the way, Dan, you've made some great suggestions. I want to kind of underline a couple of points, maybe put an exclamation mark behind a few of them. Okay, number one, your upline. Okay, so I want you to think of 3 powerful words. Okay, that's edify, edify, edify. Seriously, 3 powerful words. So some of you are saying, well, I don't know who's in my upline. So let's just get down to brass tacks real fast. Go to my.exprealty.com. Use your login credentials right on the home screen as you scan down beyond like the capping, FLQA, you know, what award you're at, what you've qualified for. You're going to see my upline partners. Now, these are your business partners, and it goes top down. So the person who directly sponsored you is in your first tier above you. Okay, and then it goes to level 2, and it goes 7 levels high. It's going to give you all of those names. Now you're saying, well, I don't know these people. Here's my input. Just go to EXP Workplace, start up a chat, look up their name, send them a chat saying, if I could schedule a 3-way call with an agent, would you take it? By the way, do you have a scheduling link? Now, scheduling links are a streamlined way to make sure that you can get time with some partner above you in your organization to do a 3-way call with you. And if they don't have a scheduling link, well, shame on them. They should be able to bounce that back to you quickly. You reach out to your candidate, and a very simple script. By the way, you know, Dan, I appreciate you saying, you know, well, I'm not a Sean Kokoska. Guys, you have a better opportunity to attract agents than I do. And I'm not kidding, because you're talking to 5 to 15 agents every week in the normal transactional work that you're doing. Now, I'm not in transactional work, not any longer. I haven't personally sold a house representing a buyer seller since 2012. I've been a full-time coach, trainer, consultant in this space. So I'm not talking to new realtors every day. They're not calling me to ask me questions about one of my listings. So you have a bigger opportunity in front of you than I do. I just want you to get that, okay? So an agent calls you about one of your listings. You answer their question politely as always. And you say, hey, by the way, do you just have 60 seconds? I have a very direct question I'd love to ask you. Of course, they always say yes. Say, well, let me ask, have you actually sat down? Have you taken the time to investigate the EXP Realty model as it relates to your stock portfolio, your lead generation platforms and strategy, your ability to retire to residual and passive income? Because I got to tell you, Dan, the finances, the economics here at EXP, they are life-changing. Have you taken the time? They say, well, I haven't. Well, let me tell you, Dan, EXP is creating more multimillionaires than any other brokerage in the history of real estate sales. They're the fastest growing brokerage in the history of real estate. So let's do this. And let's just pick a name. Let's say Gene Fredericks in your upline. You say, well, let's do this. Let's simply set an appointment for you to meet with one of the top guys in the organization. His name is Gene Frederick. Let me tell you, this guy is earning through EXP about $1.4 million a month in just wake up money, over $300 million in equity and stock in the organization. He knows how the big money is being made over at EXP. Now, if I reach out to him and I ask him for 30 minutes of his time, I promise you he'll say yes. So tell me, what works best for you? Is it mornings, afternoons, or evenings?
They finally emerge. They are sparkly and
Say it again. Sorry. I didn't hear that. I'm so sorry. Was that Sean Policino? It sounded like your voice.
I think that was an accident.
Okay, gotcha. So let's just say, well, you know, Sean, I'm really happy where I'm at right now. I'm not looking to make a move. Only one objection handler, guys. It's so simple. Well, that's okay. I mean, maybe you don't want any extra money. Yet let me quickly ask, if Gene could show you how to put an extra $20,000 to $50,000 in your bank account, in your pocket, over the course of the next 12 months, and you're doing nothing different than you're doing today, would it be worth investing just 30 minutes to learn about the opportunity? Well, Sean, since you put it that way, yeah, let's go ahead and set it up. And guys, once they see it, they can't unsee it. See, you think, well, I don't have this big opportunity. And yes, you do. In fact, I believe in my heart of hearts that the largest revenue share earner at EXP has yet to join our company. That's how big this opportunity is. Seriously.
I want to interject here real quick because I want to give everybody an assignment, and you can choose to accept this assignment or not. The assignment that I'm going to ask for you to do today is to, if you don't already know who the top 3 people above you in your upline are, find out who they are. And Sean gave you the website of how to find that earlier. That's step 1. Step 2 is to reach out to them and ask them for their help. And I promise you that they'll say yes. I want to share with you a text. This was yesterday between myself and one of my upline members. This is the gentleman 2 uplines from me, where this is a text between him and myself. He was sharing with me, he was asking me how he wanted me to do something. And then he says, absolutely, I'll help you recruit them all, put me to work. I plan to respond to the message, yada, yada, yada. And we were talking about a recruit there. Now, obviously, you did use the word recruit, and I don't believe that that's the most powerful word to use, okay? Because I believe that we should be attracting people to us. So Sean's giving you some phenomenal scripts, but they've got to be able to see within themselves, like, holy crap, like, is there something there that I don't already not see? I had a conversation with a gentleman yesterday. This guy owns a 22 agent brokerage in Florida. And when I shared with him, I said to him, I said, would you be interested to have a conversation and to take a look at the financials about EXP? Do you know what he said to me? No. And he said it that quickly. So then what I said to him, I said, fantastic, no worries. What are you doing tomorrow morning? I've got a training I would like to invite you to attend. He says, well, tell me more about that. I shared with him about the training. And guess who was there this morning? The gentleman that I talked to yesterday. So oftentimes, just like some of you were sharing earlier, it's a 2-year journey. See, what I know is that gentleman who I spoke with yesterday, 1 of 2 things will happen. He'll either retire from this industry, continuing to own a small brokerage, or he'll join EXP. I can almost share that with you with almost like that's a prediction that I would say to you is very, very most likely for him. So if you look, fine, no sweat, no. Then what do I need to do next? How can I be able to provide him a value such that he can start seeing something within himself that's different than what he already sees? Because right now, he's got blinders on. Right now, he doesn't want to see. And I shared with him a story, just like, and in fact, Gene Frederick, and I shared with him a story. I said, you know, once upon a time, I used to be an operating partner of a Keller Williams Realty franchise. And a gentleman named Gene Frederick qualified me, because he was my regional director at the time, to become an operating partner. And 6 months later, Gene Frederick left the company that I previously was with. And I felt some sort of like, I had this sort of not a great feeling about it.
Let me tell you my feeling on that, Dan, because I was president of Keller Williams MAPS coaching, MAPS business training at the time, you know, working with KWU. And I thought, This guy owned the Northern California and Hawaii region. He owned 6 different market centers. Here's what I thought, guys, and forgive my language, but I thought you're fucking crazy.
Well, we had the same thought.
And yet look at him now. 1.4 million a month, over 300 million in stock awards. He's living down in Puerto Rico, living the life, doing what he wants when he wants. He just bought like a 90-foot yacht, it's tens of millions of dollars. He deserves it because
he does.
He saw the vision. He saw
He
the
does.
vision long before you and I did, Dan. And if I had left with Gene back then, man, life would be a little bit different right now. And so my only regret when I finally did join EXP just over 3 years ago is that I didn't do it when Gene did it.
And it's funny, Sean, because that's my only, I would tell you that my pivotal points in business, was the day that I bought the brokerage I used to own, the day I sold the brokerage I used to own, and the day I quit the brokerage I used to be a part of. And quite candidly, those are pivotal points of my career. Okay. Now you have your own story. Right? You can certainly use Sean's story. You can use my story. You can use Gene's story, and you can use your own story. And when I said earlier to say, hey, you're not Sean, but you're also not Peter. You're also not John. You're also not Kathy. You're also not Dan. And so what I intended to convey to you is that you have your own special reason for being a part of this company, for being, you have your special place in life. And so what I'm encouraging for you to do is to identify that, is to then communicate to others the stories that you've heard Sean share with you, the stories that I've just shared with you, and either have the conversation with them or invite them to have a conversation with your upline.
Well, and Dan, speaking to the conversation with your upline partners, okay, I think it's important that you really get to know these people, understand what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses.
Yeah.
Because as you're dealing with a candidate that maybe you need some help with, okay, like for example, my direct sponsor is Tim and Julie Harris. Now, Tim does all the attraction calls. He's a great guy, don't get me wrong. Yet
Tim used to be my personal coach, Sean. So I know Tim's qualities as well.
He has self-admitted this multiple times, okay, that he is a blunt instrument.
He's a little harsh.
Seriously. He will just come in and he will hammer close and hammer close. And so if the individual I'm dealing with will be able to tolerate that type of approach or even identify with it and gravitate toward it, well, then I'm going to involve Tim. Now, if they're more analytical, I'm not going to involve Tim. I'm going to reach out to Kevin Cottrell. And Kevin Cottrell, who is a C-type behavior, meaning very analytical. He understands all the numbers. And if they're very analytical, I'm going to ask, Kevin Cottrell, let's do a 3-way call. I need your help with this one, right? Or if they're the person who's that I-type behavior, somebody who's, and take this in the spirit, I mean it, you eyes out there, easily influenced, then getting Gene on a Zoom meeting with them, I mean, it's a shoe in, right? But I wouldn't take that person who's easily influenced, who maybe wears their feelings on their sleeve, and put them with Tim Harris. I hope that makes sense. Because they'll probably, think, oh, man, that's a little too strong of a push for me. Yet if they're a D-type behavior, I'll get them with Tim every day of the week.
Second part of your assignment, if you choose to take it, number 1 was to find your top 3, the 3 above you and your upline. Number 2 is to contact them. And that's your assignment for today, if you choose to do so. I promise you take that action a day, you're setting yourself up for success to start developing your revenue share.
Love that. Way to go, Dan.
Thank you. I think I'm out of time, Sean.
Actually, we do this one for 45 minutes, but if you need to jump, Dan, you're welcome.
I don't need to jump. I'm good. I'm good.
All right. Well, you can keep talking as long as you want, buddy. Okay.
Well, let's see here. What's the biggest challenge that you may have in this conversation? I'd love to hear some challenges if you guys want to throw them out. Let's do a little back and forth. So who has a challenge like with the conversation, or who has a fear? Because here's the thing. Sean is giving you the best scripts whatsoever. What I'm intending to do today is to be able to give you a mindset so that you can approach this in a way that works for you. What I want you to do is I want you to approach this in a way that you can understand is that you don't have to recruit, is that you can just simply approach it in a way that works for you by attracting to an opportunity. And if that's not like your thing, that's okay, because your upline will help you with that. John, you got your hand up there, John, and then Derek.
So I got to throw it out. I actually don't attract. This is the first person who's ever reached out to me. I specifically recruit. I specifically recruit a specific avatar of an agent. I have the specific scripting and the model to go through because I get to control productivity of the people in my group. So not to argue that attracting isn't a great way to do it, but I am straight up, no joke, a recruiter. I'm super proud of it. I recruit like crazy. I think I have 4 people coming on in the last 10 days, 12, 15 days, I think. Sean, that sounds about right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And so I will just throw it out there that I am super, super, super proud to be a recruit because I'm recruiting people to the best opportunity in business. And I do it in a very specific way. And so not to say agent attraction isn't amazing, but there's more than one way to skin this cat, in my opinion.
Well, and that's what I love about this format, you guys, is because here's the point. There's your way of doing things. There's my way of doing things. And guess what? The way of doing things, guys, it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
So, John, you're a recruiter. Dan, you're an attractor. And I want you to view this session that we're going to do every single week, as long as I'm with EXP, and it's going to be years and years to come. Okay. I want you to view this as your buffet. Okay. So let's say you go to the country buffet or whatever that place is called. Or maybe on a cruise ship and you're going to go to the buffet on the cruise, right? And you see all the food that they offer. You're not going to take every type of food that they offer there and put it on your plate because there's certain things you don't like. So I want you to view this like the buffet. You're going to take the things away from maybe John or Derek or Barbara or me or Dan or the other guests that we have week in and week out. Like Scott was on yesterday in our accelerated breakthrough call, and you guys offered some major value there. You're going to take what you want to put on your plate. Yet here's the thing. You got to eat it. Okay. You've got to eat it. You got to have somebody who's going to be that parent for you and make you eat those peas that you don't want to eat because they're good for you. You understand? All right. So Dan, what are your thoughts on recruiting versus attraction?
I think it's your way. It's just my question was, or my statement before I even asked for the questions was, discover your way, and now let's lean into that. And so I agree with John. I agree with you 100%. 100%. I agree with you. And that doesn't mean that and I agree with Sean 100% as well. That doesn't mean that attracting is the way to do it. That doesn't mean recruiting is the way to do it. It means that there could be a very, very specific way that you can embrace. And what I've discovered for most is that attracting is more desirable. And it's the same way as if I was teaching a real estate class right now, because what I know is, John, you'll call an expired all day long, won't you?
I used to do 500 dials a day in 6 different states.
Okay. So what I know
Yep.
is, and I already knew the answer to that. And I also know that 80% of the conversation right here are not comfortable doing that.
100%.
And so what I'm intending to do is to communicate to the 80% right now. However, I'll call an expired listing all day long as well. Okay. Because it's the fastest way to a paycheck. All right. Derek, good to see you. How you doing, my man? My truck driver.
Hey, Don. Hey, Sean. How y'all doing?
Derek,
My question
Retired
is,
truck driver.
oh, yeah. Yeah, first year as a full-time agent. Just completed my first year. Wish I would have done it 20 years ago when I wanted to become an agent. My question is, with agent attraction, how's your processes for a long-term follow-up? Because yes, I can ask the prom queen out for a date tonight. Like, hey, what you doing tonight? But my question is, once you get them to watch the video, once you get them to the Friday attraction call, and then you have another follow-up call, and they're not, okay, where I don't get the what's next or how do I join? It's like,
Okay.
I'm good where I'm at, I'm away, but how do I think I get a lot. If I to change brokerage, I would definitely come over to EXP.
Right.
So how do your long-term follow-up process go?
Here's first thing I want to know before I want you to know before I answer that question is, number one, everybody's recruitable or everybody's attractable. Okay, that's coming from a guy that was not recruitable.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I believe that. I said,
right,
this is
right.
what I tell them.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
This is coming from a guy that if you would have asked me 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I would have been that gentleman I talked to yesterday where the question wouldn't even come out of your mouth and it's a no.
Yeah.
Everybody's
absolutely.
recruitable. So first we need to recognize that. Second, to answer your question, well, two things. I want to give you something very, very tactical. Number one, while you were asking me the question, I was pulling over here a thing of folders. Like I'm old school. I'm old school in my follow up. Okay. In the same way as I follow up with my listings, I follow up with my recruits. Okay. Now, how do I follow up with them? So, for example, if somebody says, well, I'm not ready to rock and roll today, no sweat. I offer them value. So instead of me saying, hey, and this is the way that I do this, we all have different, this is the way I do it. And so instead of me at that point saying, join the XP, join the XP, join the XP, join the XP, no, I'm not doing that. No. Instead, hey, you know, my buddy Sean Kakos is doing a mastermind on Friday. And let me tell you, if you haven't heard of who Sean is, you should know. And I'm going to edify who Sean is. Those are the three words I learned earlier. And then I'm going to invite them to that. Because for some people, just like the gentleman I talked to yesterday, where he was a hard no, fine, no sweat. I'll invite him into today. Now, do I expect for him to sign up tomorrow? I candidly, I don't. Now, I intend that he will, right? But I wouldn't be surprised if that's a little bit of a longer term type relationship. Okay, so just like Derek, I know you've been to a class that I taught where I taught you about how to get for sale by owners. Don't go get the listing, go get the relationship. So the same way as what we talked about with for sale by owners is I'm there to get the relationship, same deal. Now, if they're ready to hire me right now, boom, sign the dot, right? I'm ready to roll. I'm here to help you. So that's my answer to your question, Derek. Who's next?
Right. Thanks, Doug.
Yeah, my
Well, I'll
pleasure.
underline that just real quick. Hey guys, if you just hammer EXP on them after you've done the attraction call, you did your follow-up call, you asked them about EXP. If you just keep calling them, texting them about EXP, they're gonna become annoyed. They're gonna ghost you. They're not gonna return your texts nor your calls, and you're gonna spin your wheels and waste your time. So there's two things one thing I would recommend. Go to iconcoaching.com. Many of you are there. We have that Tuesday group call. We don't talk about EXP. We talk about how to improve your sales volume, your commission income, your bank account balance, your net worth during those calls. We don't talk about EXP. But go to iconcoaching.com, go to the events tab, go to the Tuesday. It's called the Accelerated Breakthrough Mastermind. It is free. Now you can register there, then you can get the calendar link and then just simply send it to them so they don't get into my fold, okay? I don't want them to enter my funnel because they're your candidate and there's no recruit that is worth my reputation, okay? And I don't want them to get into my funnel because if they get into my funnel, then my ISA is going to reach out to them. They're going to be set up with my director of sales and they're going to be pitched on a one-on-one attraction opportunity with me. You guys with me? So just simply register yourself, send them the Zoom link or send them the calendar link so they can add it right to their calendar. But if they show up to that, and by the way, if you show up to that, we're going to improve your knowledge, skills, mindset, and habits. We're going to do the same thing for your candidates. And there's going to be a direct correlation of influence that comes right back to you because you are the one who introduced them to it. You with me? So when you show up every week and then you look at the participants list, like right now we got 116 on this call, it should be 2116. But the bottom line is this, that if you see their name there, it gives you a great reason to follow up. Hey, what'd you think about the mastermind today? What did you extract from that? What can I help you implement and deploy within your business and your strategy such that you can make more money for you and your loved ones? You come from contribution, you see. And you just keep doing that over and over and over. You give to them without ever remembering, yet you receive from them without ever forgetting. And guys, that's how you're going to attract people. Okay, sure, go direct with the recruiting approach. That's great. Once they've heard the pitch, once they see it, they can't unsee it. What's your follow-up plan? And I think it's just come from contribution. Jump into EXP Workplace. Maybe Nolly Williams is doing a webinar on, maybe, I don't know, short sales. I don't know, but invite them to engage in that, right? Why not? Just be that person who's looking out for them. Their best interest comes from contribution. You can't go wrong.
Who's got we got time for one last question. Who's got the last question?
I've got a question.
Unmute yourself, ask it in the chat. And just real quick, I saw somebody said that they got a small local market. And I don't know if this was the intention, yet small local market, that's great. Attract as many agents as you can there. Yet this is not a localized opportunity. And that's what I love about EXP as a global opportunity. So you think, well, I don't know any agents outside of my state. That's okay. Do you have friends or family members that are not realtors that are outside of your state? I'll bet you do. And I'll bet many of them own real estate. So why not pick up the phone and call your cousin and say, hey, John, Sean Kukoski, EXP, say today, I wouldn't say EXP, I'd say, hey, John, you're my cousin. It's Sean. How you doing today, bud? Hey, today's call, it's about business. Do you have just 2 minutes to help me out real fast? Of course, John's going to say yes. And I would say, listen, John, I'm expanding my brokerage nationally, and I'm looking for great realtors in Sioux Falls that, you know, or have integrity, that are good realtors that really know what they're doing. And I have an incredible opportunity for them. Who do you know that I should call today? They say,
Dave,
oh,
you got
our realtor. Why don't you call them? Can you send me their contact information? Just text it to me. Then I'm going to call that person. I'm going to leverage my cousin and say, hey, John asked me to give you a call. My name is Sean Kukoski. I'm with eXp Realty, and I'm expanding my brokerage nationally. I asked them, who do you know that is a great realtor? And they said, you know, you are somebody that I should definitely reach out to with an incredible opportunity. When do you have just 30 minutes to meet with me? I'd like to just outline this with you. They're going to say yes, not because of what you said, it's because of the relationship they have with their past client. You guys with me? Don't you want to look good to your past clients? Of course you do, because you want to repeat and referral business, right? So they're going to say yes. You explain the EXP model. Once they see it, they can't unsee it. So that's a very easy strategy to get out of a small local market and into other markets through friends and family.
Dave, we got time for one last question. I know Dave wanted to ask a question.
Excuse me. Yeah. So as I'm entering discussions with people about EXP, and I expected this would happen, but it's happening at a much more rapid pace. It's folks like you, it's folks like Sean, kind of the whales, really big producers. People already have coaching programs, people that are offering their services and their training for free as a benefit if you join under them. It's, you know, I'm seeing it happen more and more. What's your best, I don't know how to overcome that, because they're shopping sponsors and they're saying,
No,
hey, if I go over here, I
easy.
get that. What can you provide me?
Easy, work with your whale. I promise you that whoever the closest whale to you is, meaning that in your upline, okay, whether that be Sean or maybe somebody closer to you, I don't know, right? But whoever that person is, I promise you that they will go to work on your behalf. So you don't need to create what I've created. You don't need to create what Sean's created, because you already are part of an organization. You just need to get in relationship with that person. And now that person, I promise you, will be more than happy to help you to be able to provide those resources that you say, oh, I can't compete against that. I get that. Does that make sense, Dave?
Yeah, it does. I'm not sure it's going to be that easy, but I understand.
Okay. And you're up. I promise you there's somebody in your upline that is that person. So your job would be to figure out who that is.
Hey, I'm gonna throw in a comment on that, because the upline EXP is a lot like they used to say in Rome, where all roads lead to Rome. All roads lead to either Brent or Gene, one of those guys. And they really just essentially do, right? They've got 30% of the entire company in their downline.
Yeah.
They've got structures to help. You're in their downline at some point. Brent is 7 levels up from me. I'm fortunate I've got a number of good people between there as well. But I've had people ask me this question in my coaching a million times. Go all the way up to the top of your upline.
They'll help you.
They will help you.
John's right. In fact, both of those gentlemen that John just said, both of them were, and Sean too. There was many people I talked to EXP when I was joining the company. So I promise you there's people that will help you. You just need to connect those dots. We're out of time. I just do want to make 2 requests. Number one is, if you're interested in learning how to take more listings, I've got a listing challenge coming up on February 13th. You go www.5daylistingchallenge.com. That's 5daylistingchallenge.com. And I don't know if, I'm sure that Sean is probably, though he probably gets like a waiver we don't even have to vote for him to be speaking at the EXP conference, right? But if he's on there, vote for Sean 9 times and vote for me once to be a speaker on stage at the EXP summit coming up. Please, thank you.
I just had a quick question. Is it possible to get a copy of?
Go ahead. Let's do it quick.
Okay, is it possible to get a copy of the recording?
Absolutely. In fact, guys, if you go to iconcoaching.com, go to the events tab, go to the Attraction and Action Mastermind, then you're going to see a web form there where you can register. Yet just scroll down, and what you're looking for is a headline that says "Don't miss a thing." And then under that, you're going to see a click. You can look at all the replays. And guys, there are hundreds of replays, at least on that site. So feel free, go check that out. It's free. Just have fun with it. Seriously, extract as much knowledge as you possibly can, because the foundation in your business is made up of 4 things. Okay, it's your knowledge, your skills, your mindset, and your habits. And with the right foundation, as Dan said to me a couple of weeks ago on another mastermind that we did together, with the right foundation, you can build an empire. Okay. So,
Okay, you said go to iconcoaching.com, not to the world?
yeah.
Okay.
Go to the
thank you.
events tab, go to the Attraction and Action Mastermind, and then you'll see a web form to register. Just scroll down to Don't Miss a Thing. You'll see all the replays there. Okay.
Okay, thanks
And
a
by the way,
lot.
if you guys maybe want a little bit of help, we're here to help you. I promise you that. All you have to do is go to iconcoaching.com, schedule a free assessment. Seriously, a free coaching session. You're going to meet with my right-hand guy here. His name is Paul Hellam. He's going to identify at least one challenge you have in your current strategy. And he's going to help you with the strategies and tactics to bridge whatever gaps exist within your current methodology. And again, no strings, no obligations. It's free. I pay Paul a salary. He's not on commission. He's not going to try and pitch you or sell you or anything. Just get on that call. It's free. Why not? All right. With that said, Dan, Rochon, thank you so much for your time today and pouring into all of our people. Really appreciate you so much. And guys, keep doing this with us every single week until we talk again next Wednesday. Just be on purpose, be productive, and as always, be powerful. Talk to you all then. Bye-bye.